Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. And this watch is one of my favorites. Although the original Ploprof, launched in the 1970s, was considered to be a bit eccentric in its day, a wave of nostalgia for vintage Omega references in the late 2000s inspired the company to bring back one of its quirkiest ever professional divers. The 2009 Ploprof followed the success of the Omega Mania auction, giving us a bigger, bolder, and more durable modern-day plongeur professionnel to act as the flagship of the Seamaster collection. Now, in 2015, Omega revisited the plongeur with a grade 5 titanium case, a no-date dial, a master chronometer movement, and now a display caseback. So this is the 2015 to present version of the Ploprof. The plongeur professionnel, technically the Seamaster 1200M. It's that and more, but it's easy to wear, and that might be a shock. So yes, 55 millimeters in diameter, but that's from here to here. That's a distance down the wrist. What's the actual distance across the wrist? It's only 48.1, less than a Rolex Daytona on a solid end link bracelet. That said, it is quite thick. There's no getting away from the fact that it's 18.6 millimeters thick, and it's got a 24 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And yes, conventional spring bars are welcome here. This is a 24 millimeter spacing. You can absolutely get a strap, aftermarket, 24 millimeter spacing, throw it on there. It is not a proprietary integration. Taking the watch and putting it on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, you can see why I say there's no getting away from the thickness, but it also fits really well. Remember, I said it's long down the wrist, and there's your proof. This is the over-the-top shot, which generally exaggerates the width of a watch, and still the lugs are not far beyond the edge of my wrist. Taking a better vantage point and looking down the barrel, you can see that the lugs are actually dramatically inboard of the edge of my wrist. So if you wanted to wear this Ploprof on a 14 centimeter circumference wrist, hey, it would look huge, but it would fit. It is thick though. There's your profile. It's not going to slide underneath any kind of a tight dress cuff. But then again, maybe you shouldn't wear your sleeves so tight. Taking a look at the watch, we have a grade 5 titanium case and a grade 2 titanium bracelet, proving that if you have the industrial might of the Swatch Group, you can convincingly polish grade 2 titanium. Not easy to do. The bracelet, known as the shark-proof mesh, is probably the best ventilating bracelet ever made. As you can see, there are many gaps between the links. And then in profile, you could see how it interlocks. These are actually made in big blankets and sheets and then cut to the dimensions required for the watch application. Machining is then performed to remove all of the burrs, hooks, and snags that might cut you in profile, creating a super smooth edge. The clasp is one of Omega's best, big, thick gauge, and you can see with a unique set of engravings. It is a trigger release, so it cannot pop open accidentally. And then internally, you have both a push-button incremental multi-stop adjustment system, a slider, and then we have a fold-out all-or-nothing extension. So if you're in the old colonies like myself, that is about 2 inches, and if you're everywhere else in the civilized world, about 50 millimeters. And the tolerances are snappy and tight. It's a pleasure to operate. Rolling around to the case, Omega was very true to the shape of the original Seamaster 600, but this is a much more robust construction. For one thing, it has a feature the original did not. The original was supposedly so hermetically sealed that helium could not intrude during saturation diving, so it need not egress. Therefore, there was no helium escape valve. I've never entirely trusted those systems, though they are still used to the present day, including by Omega. But this watch has a true helium gas escape valve. We also have the push-button unlocking diving bezel. Now, this is bi-directional, but the reason it still meets the definition of a dive watch is when the push-button release is actioned, you can move it in either direction. When you relieve it of pressure, now you can't move it at all. So that's why it still meets the definition of a diver, because it has a fixed reference point. A big change on this generation of Ploprof, we now have ceramic bezel inserts, and while I often say that a sapphire cap is necessary to ensure that lume will not be displaced by abrasion, a fully lumed bezel that uses a ceramic-based lume is actually quite viable, provided you have the technology to integrate ceramic-based lume with an actual scratch-resistant ceramic bezel. And, well, Omega and Swatch Group, they've got that. You can see all three hands are lumed, including the second, so if you know whether your backup dive timer is running, you'll have a bit greater a margin of safety. That's how you know your watch is running in the depths in the dark. We also have differential lume for the bezel index and the minute hand, so you can gauge those two timing references relative to each other more quickly. Also note, every single minute up to 60 is marked on the bezel. Also important to note, it's a bit of an unconventional bezel in its action, so just to be absolutely sure, let's count the clicks together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 60-click bezel and super chunky. So if you like the panorized submersible bezel feel, this one's for you. The crown system. Speaking of Panerai, this is another take on a fully enclosed crown. So if it's hit perpendicular, you don't have to worry about damage. A shouldered crown guard can't give you that degree of protection. Now you can also see that it rises on two struts. So there's a strut on each side, and it's a telescoping system, so it's actually quite robust. Now, once you've withdrawn the crown, you have to screw it out a little bit. You have the ability to set the hour hand independently. Note, the watch is still ticking. This is great for travelers. As you jump time zones, the watch jumps with you. Pull the crown out all the way. Now we have a hacking or stop seconds function. The whole thing can easily be compressed and screwed back in just like this, and it cinches itself closed. Now, grade 5 titanium, which is used here, is the really good stuff. It's titanium, yes, but it's also 6% aluminum and 4% vanadium, which means it is both lighter than steel and more scratch-resistant than conventional watchmaking 904L and 316 steels. We have a gloss-style base with applied indices and Omega logo for an upscale look, and a case back that, as of 2015, gained a display window, so you can see the master chronometer caliber 8912. Bidirectional winding, twin barrels, 60-hour power reserve. It's got the hacking seconds and the time zone features, anti-magnetic silicone hairspring with an anti-magnetic balance staff, and escapement. So it's not just anti-magnetic, it's effectively amagnetic. Master chronometer is a comprehensive test. It is not just a 5-position, 2-week test of a bare movement. It is a 6-position test of a fully cased-up watch. So it's a test of the watch as you receive it. So yes, chronometry in 6 positions is tested, and it has to meet the COSC and exceed that to become a master chronometer at Omega. But then you also get water resistance testing, winding efficiency, power reserve, shock resistance, durability, and anti-magnetism, tested to over 15,000 Gauss. Now, the movement features a tri-level coaxial escapement as developed by George Daniels in 1974, industrialized by Omega in 1999, and developed as the tri-level since the 8500 caliber debuted as a purpose-built tri-level coaxial in 2007 on the Hour Vision. Now, this version, the 8912, is basically a 8900 without a date, so that's why it's not an 8900, and it's got a quirky beat rate of 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is specific to some silicone hairsprings within Swatch Group brands. And the Daniels idea with the escapement was that it's a direct and indirect double impulse system, but with tangential friction rather than the sliding friction of a traditional Swiss lever, improving power reserve, improving chronometry, and also decreasing maintenance requirements. Although a machine-finished movement, it's handsome with both polished and blackened screws, spiral arabesque Côte de Genève across rotor and bridges, and then engine turning on the base plate. Bevels are there, machine-applied, but handsome and appropriate to the price of the watch. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase and pricing details. Twin barrels, 60 hours of power reserve, 1,200 meters, and pure bliss.